My name is Umesh Chatrath, and I came to Peoria in 1972 at the age of 38 years and started from scratch in pediatric residency to start with. After 2 years of residency training, I joined a private practice here with one of the very popular physician or pediatrician, Dr. Dibaj. And he was also involved in taking care of cystic fibrosis patients. So I got involved in that and eventually became the center director of the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation Center in Peoria in 1979. And continued in private practice for a few more years. I used to have students from the medical school for like 2 weeks rotation, third-year students. And then 1987, with the encouragement of Dr. William Albers, who encouraged me to join the university as a full-time faculty staff. Since then, I worked with the university and also taking care of the cystic fibrosis patients in the center till 2005, when I retired. And then 3 years later, I joined the university practice again on a very part-time basis, and I'm still continuing that. That goes back actually when I was very little, maybe third or fourth grade, when I started thinking about it. And what prompted me to go into this field was one of my uncles, who was a primary care physician in one of the towns. And he used to visit us and we used to visit them. And he was very popular, very, very gentle-hearted and all, and people used to love him. So something, that entered into my mind. I said, I want to become like him. So that's how it started. In the beginning, my father was not in favor of medical. He wanted me to become an engineer, but my mother persuaded him and told him to let him do whatever he wants to do. So I entered into medical field. I think, again, I have to go back to Dr. William Albers. He was my mentor. He had quite a, faith in me and kind of trusted in me. And he was always encouraging me to do this or that. So anytime I had any issue, I would go to him and he would guide me. So all along, I think I have to give the credit to him to be influencing me to do whatever I wanted to do. Especially teaching, I was always interested in teaching, and he was always encouraging me. And after 87, when I joined the university, I just enjoyed my work. I grew up in India, and my medical education was also in India. And I did some training and also started private practice there. But I had always wanted to come to United States. And when I got the chance in 72, I came with my brother-in-law, who was working in Bloomington, Illinois. So Peoria was close by. I came to Peoria, saw Sister Kanisha, who was the head of the St. Francis Medical Center at that time. She introduced me to Dr. Albers, and from there on, the residency started. And I liked the town of Peoria. I had 3 daughters already, so it was nice for them to grow up in a little relatively smaller town than Chicago or New York or those places. So I just settled here. And since then, it has been almost 50 years. I'm a Peorian. First of all, the commute of everything was pretty good. And like my commute to the first office where I joined the practice was only 2 minutes. And my commute to the medical school practice when I joined that was like 10, 12 minutes. So I could come home for lunch, which is kind of unheard of. I would start my work at 7 a.m. and then, have breakfast early and then come home for lunch and then go back again till 5:36, whatever time is required. So that way the life was easy. And the schools were, easy to reach also for kids. Three daughters, they started from kindergarten, fourth grade, and seventh grade. So it became very easy to take them to maybe swimming or dancing lessons or this lesson or that lesson. Even, a lot of like Civic Center has come up in our presence, and a lot of shows happen there, and very, very good shows there, happen. Then there was this theatrical Peoria theaters, they used to have the plays. So, and even restaurant things have grown up a lot. The Peoria Heights area is, really beautiful to walk by and sit down there. So yes, it has grown in many ways. And the other thing which has happened here is Ronald McDonald House, which was another big thing for Peoria, for taking care of these kids where parents could stay. I came here when I was a resident. Medical College of Peoria was just starting, and we had the first third year batch at that time in 72, 73, somewhere around that time. And the pediatric department was not fully, they didn't have all the subspecialties at that time. We didn't even have a pediatric intensive care unit at that time. So gradually along the years, they developed a continuous observation unit where a little bit sicker children were observed on a continuous basis, like an 8-bedroom area. And eventually it grew up into a pediatric ICU. But the greatest thing which happened in my life, and which when I was retiring, I mentioned that I would like to see, was a freestanding children's hospital. And that happened, and that's one of the greatest things. And as the years were going by, we started having more subspecialists like gastroenterologists. First one, in the beginning, a gastroenterologist from Champaign used to visit us on once a week or one basis, and we'll have patients for him. And so we started having our own gastroenterologist, and then gradually pulmonologist, and all those departments started coming up. And right now, I think we are complete as far as I think. People don't want to go to Chicago or St. Louis all the time. So even at 70, 80 miles from there, they used to come here. And that helped me also in our cystic fibrosis patients, because they used to get very sick sometimes and to put them in ICUs and all. So that was my another side, which was difficult because newer treatments were coming, patients used to die early. But, it was also heartening to, talk to the families and take care of the children and all. So overall, I think it was very satisfying experience, which I had. The School of Medicine has done a lot for Peoria community, and the Peoria community has done a lot for the school, both ways. I think it's encouragement from them and hiring, without any bias or prejudice, the Indian physicians and researchers. And then they have done their own job in providing an excellent care in many ways. So I think the combination is doing well. And I think it will grow, because I see more and more Indian physicians coming here. And some of the residents, they just stay here too. Interesting, that's earlier on when these used to come, me and my wife, we will host these families at our house. And when I came, there were only like 10, 12 Indian families, or maybe 15 Indian families. So gradually, as they were coming, like Dr. J.J. Shah came, or Dr. McGowan came, or Dr. Joseph, and all. So we all used to meet each other at our house. My wife was quite hospitable in that sense, and she was a good cook too. So we'll have dinner parties. So try to make everybody feel at home and get to know each other. And after that, they gradually, have their own fewer friends or whatever it is. But the getting to know each other started at our house. Used to start at our house. I think one of the first charitable thing which was happening was collecting funds for St. Jude's. And but at that time it was more on a personal level. But right now, which is changed, it is that the Peoria community has come together and they are joining all their efforts together to do whatever they want to do. So, for example, supplying meals to the families in Ronald McDonald House. They have done a great job with that. St. Jude's also, they have collected money, but this year I started noticing that they have joined hands there too. So people in the community and other community efforts they were doing, just donating money here and there, like Salvation Army is another one where the Indian Association of Peoria used to donate money. But the thing which has happened and which I'm really proud of it is the community has now come together. Previously, like 20 years ago or 15 years ago, everybody was doing it on an individual basis. But now coming together, had joined the forces, and now it is becoming more visible also in the community. And the community likes it. And I feel that we are very well accepted in the community too. And that's another good thing about Peoria, that we were in bigger city, you get lost. No, I think the Easter seal by itself is a big asset for Peoria area also. And we need to support that. I think two big things for our community are the St. Jude's, because we have the affiliate here, and the Easter seal. And what they are doing, I think, is great. And we need to continue to support these organizations. So that's all I want to tell our people. Keep doing the good job you're doing, and just keep on adding more people to your workforce. In the Indian community, I think there are a few people who are really very much involved. Of course, Dr. Kamlesh Makwan is one of them. J.J. Shah is another one of them. And then there are also non-medical people also, Srinivas and Velapuri and all. So these are, those are still young people, and they can, I think, take our community much farther where we are. And I see their, involvement all the time in different things. Like one of them had started a St. Jude's run, from Dunlap to Peoria, and was going to supply, a nice dish of biryani. You have to order it, and that money goes to St. Jude. So that's how I think they are picking it up. If they just continue to do that, we'll do well. If I talk about myself, my career, I think that I was able to pursue my desires of teaching. At one time, all medical students of third year used to go through my office. Of course, I had other partners with me. So if you really count, thousands of third year medical students have gone through me. teaching, and I was really involved with that. I will spend a lot of time. So I was able to do that. That's one of the things which is satisfying and makes me feel proud. The other thing was being able to take care of the patients with cystic fibrosis. That was a difficult thing. I went to Cleveland for a little training, extra training in that area, and then was able to use whatever the latest, I didn't do any research, but whatever the latest modalities were available and the consensus of opinions were there for treatment of those kids. So those two things. And third thing, looking at what our community has done. A lot of experts and specialists are here, and they are all doing wonderful job of taking care of these kids. If we talk about pediatrics, there are in adults also, but we're talking about pediatrics right now. But the other way I've supported the medical education is establishing an endowment fund in my name with a lectureship series. And once a year, they have a grand round. So from those interest of the funds, we will invite some well-known speaker from different parts of the country. It started 2 years ago. Last year, pandemic year, was the second year when we had the online virtual grand round meeting. So this year, I think we'll be able to do live in person. I think I'm looking forward to the medical community developing more and more research being done here, and it become one of the leading centers so they can talk about it. There are few areas which they already have excelled quite a bit, like NICU, neonatal intensive care unit. Even the chief of our pediatric intensive care unit has been recognized in the state of Illinois as one of the 3 physicians. So, and nephrology department has been recognized also. So I would like to see these things happening more and more people. I think there are still people hesitant to come and settle here for whatever reasons, and some come and then leave. I would rather see, all these great physicians and scientists kind of settle and make this place as maybe Mayo Clinic of Peoria.